Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Friday. We've made it to the end of the week. Your reward is 3 hours of sports talk on the sports voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. However, wherever, whenever you're tuned into the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis and Brendan Dworzinski will be along in a bit. We'll have the whole gang together coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Much to get to on this final edition of the week of 580 Sports Talk. Rookie minicamp is underway for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Royals are, well, into a new month, which at least it isn't April anymore. But as April turns to May, you start to run out of chances to prove you're not the team that started 12-19. You run out of room between that line that divides a slow start and just not a very good baseball team. And we're going to talk about plenty of those two teams on today's program today. Plus, we're going to preview the Kentucky Derby. We got two great guests coming up for you on today's show. So very excited to have you along here today on 580 Sports Talk. On the Chiefs front, mentioned rookie minicamp today. We'll hear from a few of the newest members of the Chiefs. Handful of them spoke to the media earlier today. We'll hear from first-round pick Mansour Delane, second-round pick R. Mason Thomas, and seventh-round pick Garrett Nussmeier, all of whom talked to the media between sessions today. I say between sessions, they're still going out there at One Arrowhead Drive, and as a result, our guy Matt Derrick is there. He's on the scene. He's doing some observing. He's going to get some writing up at ChiefsDigest.com, I'm sure, but his usual spot with us will be a little delayed today. You're still going to hear from our Chiefs insider, but it's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour today instead. You'll hear from Matt Derrick at about 5:25 rather than his usual 3:35 with us. We'll have some Chiefs audio to tide you over, like I mentioned, in the bottom of that 3 o'clock hour. But Matt Derrick will join us live at 5:25. Also today, a little Chiefs hypothetical that I stumbled upon listening to the podcast of ESPN football analyst Bill Barnwell. They were doing a draft do-over, one apiece since 2016 for all 32 teams. It got me thinking, what is the Chiefs draft do-over? If we shrunk the scope to everything after Patrick Mahomes, so the 2018 draft onward, what would be your draft do-over for the Chiefs? Now, there are specific constraints for the exercise where you get a do-over, but you only get to select from either the next player drafted at the same position or one of the next 10 players to go after the pick that the Chiefs made. And remember, you only get one. So if you only get one since 2018, what would the draft do-over be for you, for the Kansas City Chiefs? We're going to have fun debating that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. As far as the Royals go, they are back in action tonight. We'll have it for you right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. It's a later start than normal on the West Coast. Thank you, Apple TV. Royals will be broadcast exclusively on the streamer tonight, Apple TV. Pre-game coverage at 8 o'clock right here on the Sports Voice of Kansas from the Royals Baseball Network. And that 8:45 first pitch as the Royals open up a 3-game series in Seattle against the Mariners, another team trying to turn the page on a disappointing April, though the Mariners did seem to be coming out of their funk and are now right at the 500 mark as May baseball begins. We're going to look at the three biggest reasons the Royals have disappointed to date, and see if that's something that is a real long-haul concern or just a bad 31 games because it is possible, even for good teams, to have bad months. Is it just a trend that will fix itself? Will water find its level? Will there be regression to the mean? Or is there a longer haul issue at play that the Royals might not be able to overcome as April turns to May? We'll get into that here in just a little bit. I mentioned we had two guests today. Matt Derrick will join us in the 5 o'clock hour so he can attend all of Chiefs rookie minicamp practice today. But coming up at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, it's our pal Andy Weingarten, formerly of WIBW-TV and Wave 3 television in Louisville. You know what that means. When we've got Andy on the horn, it's Derby weekend. The Kentucky Derby, the Running of the Roses, is back this weekend, and we are going to preview it with our horse racing expert and our good friend, Andy Weingarten. He's going to join us at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. We'll get a look ahead to this year's Kentucky Derby. One of our more popular segments. People enjoy when we have Andy on. He speaks with such authority about the sport of kings and gets us a fun little preview of the Kentucky Derby. Plus, we'll have all our typical Friday shenanigans on the show today. We've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We got a new month of What Is Wrong With You. I got to change my mind on second thought, the whole thing as well. We want to hear from you as we go along today on 580 Sports Talk. The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. Can also interact with us if you're watching the show live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. There's a live chat feature that runs during the live broadcast of the show. And if you're watching the show, it's right there. It's either next to the chat if you're watching on your on a browser, on your laptop or your desktop computer, or if you're on a tablet, phone, mobile device, it's just a drag down or a pull up window where you can access the live chat and interact with your fellow listeners and your hosts as the show goes along over there on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Mark H. and Andrew already in today. Good to see you both. Look forward to hearing from more of you in the chat on 580 Sports Talk's YouTube page. Go subscribe to the page if you have not already. We are over the 950 subscriber hump. We're now counting down to 1,000. We're 48 subscribers away. Who's going to get us one closer today? Is it you? Are you the hero we need? Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you anything but a click. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Before we get to the sports today, we got a keyword coming for the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes here on 580 WIBW. This is the final day of the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. So this is your last chance to win $1,000 from 580 WIBW. And to get yourself registered for a chance to win, all you have to do is send the hourly keyword our way. Text it to 785-272-9429. The keyword for this 3 o'clock hour on this Friday is water. Water. W-A-T-E-R. Water. Water, as in Dan sure drinks a lot of water during the commercial breaks. If I've ever watched the show on YouTube, you would know that Dan drinks a lot of water. Water. W-A-T-E-R. Text water to 785-272-9429. You have until 4 o'clock to text that word, water. And when you do, that's an entry and a chance to win $1,000 today, the final day of our Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. Let's get into it, and let's start with the Royals, who are probably glad to be done with the month of April because April was not kind to them. They're 12-19 on the year. If you're just counting the April games, the Royals were 10-17 in the month. Not quite as bad, again, as their 8-18 June from last year, but not what you would call good and a pretty long way from what you would call acceptable for a team that entered 2026 with postseason aspirations. And now as the calendar turns to May, this is where things start to crystallize. We know, and we have referenced Dayton Moore's old line about 40 games being the dividing line for him as far as you know what kind of team you have 40 games in. I usually think Memorial Day is about the time where things really crystallize because you can overcome a bad April. You've got 5 months to erase one bad month. You've also got, on the flip side of things, 5 months to fumble a good month. Shout out to the 2021 Royals. But once you get around to Memorial Day and you played, and that's going to be 50-ish games for the Royals at that point, it gets harder and harder to describe what you've done as either a fluke, if it's a good start, or merely write it off as a bad start. You kind of start to become that team. And there's less and less rope. There's tons of baseball out ahead, but every day there's one less opportunity to right the ship. The Royals need to right their ship. They're 12-19 on the season. They are 3-12 on the road. They have not pitched particularly well, particularly out of the bullpen. They have not hit particularly well, particularly with runners in scoring position. And in that, there are the three things that are holding this team back, that are the most responsible for this slow start and the Royals being mired at the bottom of the American League Central as April turns to May. That first note, it's of a pressing concern because the Royals remain out on the road to open their series against Seattle tonight. The Royals went 3-12 on the road in March and April. Is that real? I don't think there's any reason to believe that that should sustain itself. Over the years, there's never been a substantial home field advantage for the Royals in such a way that they are dramatically different at home, or at any rate, should be dramatically inferior on the road. Like, when you think about baseball, the one team that you think about with a dramatically different home environment and road environment is the Colorado Rockies, because they play at a mile above sea level. The ball travels different. Pitches move differently. It's a different game in a lot of ways, playing a mile high than it is playing at sea level, where the ball doesn't carry, where the pitches move a little differently. They break differently. Over the years, this has borne itself out. Rockies hitters are worse on the road. They just are. That is a trend that has been as reliable as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. The Royals do not have such a handicap. So there's no reason to think that the Royals should be a team that's going to win 20% of its road games moving forward. Looking at who the Royals have played on the road, they played two of the best teams in baseball, or at least two of the teams playing the best of anybody in baseball right now, the Braves and the Yankees. They played two division rivals, Cleveland and Detroit, and they played a Sacramento team just recently that not only was hot, but also might have a bit of a home field advantage given some of their home road splits that they've displayed in a season and change at Sutter Health Park. So difficulty of road schedule has contributed. So has the fact that the Royals have somehow managed to post a 602 OPS as a team on the road. That is miserable. Big culprit there. The Royals have a batting average on balls in play well below what you would expect on the road. Just a 249 batting average on balls in play. That's a number that tends to find some regression as things go. Also, the Royals have lost half of their games on the road. Half of their road losses so far this year have been the responsibility of the bullpen. You had a pair of blown save losses in Atlanta and Detroit, a walk-off loss in Cleveland, and a parade of eighth-inning losses on that swing through Detroit and New York earlier. So do I think the Royals are going to lose 80% of their road games moving forward? No, I don't think that's a real, I don't think that's a trend with legs. I don't think that's something that I'm worried about. The Royals are going to be a team that wins. I think I got to do the math on this, but they win like 16 road games this year. I mean, if you divide 80 by 5, you get 16. They've lost, 20%, one-fifth. Or just 1/5 of their road games so far. I don't think the Royals are going to go 16 and trying to do the cocktail napkin math here. 16-65 on the road. That's the pace. I think that's going to improve. I think the offense is going to improve. There's no reason it shouldn't, essentially, away from home. There's no reason that shouldn't get better. But back to another point I was making about some of those road losses. 6 of them have to do with the bullpen. A bullpen this year that has posted a relief ERA of 5.33 out of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball, that ranks 28th. And I would love to tell you that is a bit of an early season mirage, that can be explained away by some underlying numbers that aren't as bad as the ERA. I would love to be able to do that. I cannot do that. That appears to be real. This bullpen is bad. If you're looking for a saving grace or some solace or some optimism, every one of the guys currently in the Royals bullpen in leverage spots. So Lucas Erceg, Matt Strahm, Nick Mears, Alex Lang, John Schreiber, and Daniel Lynch even. So your top 6 guys. Every one of those guys has had big league success. And not like 5-6 years ago. We're not talking about guys who are clearly, visibly have been past their prime. This isn't like when the Royals brought back Wade Davis in 2021 after he'd spent the previous 2 years obviously showing that his right elbow was pastrami and he couldn't do it anymore. That ain't this. These guys have all been good as recently as 2025. But as a whole, they have not been good in 2026. The 28th best, 3rd worst ERA in relief in baseball. And if you want me to dive into the fancy numbers, I can't give you anything that gives you a whole lot of optimism. Fielding independent pitching. That's one number that if the Royals ranked a lot better in fielding independent than ERA, you'd say, oh, well, maybe they've just had some bad luck. Nope. Their fielding independent pitching is 27th out of 30 big league bullpens. Why is that? Well, what are the 3 things you've got to do to, you never guarantee yourself success as a pitcher, but come the closest to guaranteeing success. The 3 true outcomes. You got to strike guys out, you got to not walk guys, and you got to keep the ball in the ballpark. This Royals bullpen, we've documented, they do not strike guys out. They walk too many, 5.5 per 9, in fact, 24th out of 30 teams. And the home run rate, 1.31 home runs per 9, 25th out of 30 big league bullpens. There's not a single thing this relief corps has done well in the first 31 games of the season. And Carlos Estevez isn't fixing that by himself. Even if he comes back, whenever that is, at his absolute peak fastball velocity, he alone is not going to fix this. Bailey Falter, returning from injury, is not going to fix this. It is one of those where guys who have pitched well in the big leagues before and within the last 2 years just need to pitch better. And it may not be within them. It may be that Alex Lang just doesn't throw enough strikes, that John Schreiber maybe is a little bit past his best, and that Matt Strahm is too. Erceg, I have more faith in. Seen some positive signs the last couple of outings. Royals Review did a really nice write-up about why Erceg has struggled to get chase, get swing and miss. Really, it boils down to his slider never looks like a strike. It never even starts in the zone. He's just not throwing. I think the term I used to refer to it when we were talking about a couple of weeks ago or last week was a non-competitive pitch, a pitch that never looks like a strike, so you never tempt the hitter. If he starts to throw a few more competitive sliders, I think Lucas Erceg is going to be fine. But maybe Nick Mears just doesn't miss enough bats. And even if this breakout, what looks like a breakout for Daniel Lynch IV is real, still only leaves you with 2 guys you have a whole lot of faith in at the back end of that bullpen, and that's not enough. But the bullpen struggles, yeah, those are real. They've earned those, and it just might not be a group that has a turnaround in it, at least among the current members. And then at that point, you start to think about, and they've already done this with the promotion of Luinder Avila, all right, who else is going to help this group? Who else is it going to be? The third number, or collection of numbers in this case, that explains the Royals' slow start is once again the offense with runners in scoring position. The Royals as a team are hitting .221 with a .315 on base and a .306 slug with runners in scoring position. That is the third worst batting average. It is the sixth worst on base percentage, and it is the absolute worst slugging percentage with runners in scoring position of any team in baseball. If you want to synthesize it all and break it down to one number, WRC plus, worst in baseball with runners in scoring position. But when you look at overall offense for the Royals, as a team, batting average ranks 16th out of 30 teams. On-base percentage ranks 18th. Slugging percentage ranks 14th. WRC plus ranks 18th. So, big picture, this is an average to slightly below average offense through the first month of the season. That is how they have performed. Until there's a runner on second or third or both, and then they turn into, like, the 2023 Royals. And the biggest problem for the Royals in those scenarios is the guys getting the bulk of those at-bats. The guys getting the bulk of those opportunities. Vinny Pasquantino's obviously had a miserable start to his year. Salvador Perez has been hitting the ball better last 4 or 5 games, but also got off to a terrible start. Carter Jensen has struggled in those moments. Jack Caglione is 2 for 18 with runners in scoring position this year. The bulk of the chances with runners in scoring position are being wasted. And the struggles in those scenarios are going to continue as long as the individual struggles of Pasquantino and Perez in particular continue. That's the thing about runners in scoring position numbers. They're not always going to match your team stats. You'd like to believe that given a larger sample size, those things will balance out and you'll have a track record with runners in scoring position that more closely mirrors your track record in any scenario. And the Royals have to hope that's the case. But right now, again, in this small sample size, the guys getting those opportunities are in a funk. If those guys snap out of it, you're going to start to see better runners in scoring position numbers. But as April turns to May, can't wait too long. We'll take a quick break here on 580 Sports Talk. Looking for your interaction on the show today. Love to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429, or in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We'll get some listener reaction. We come back, a little bit more Royals baseball. Also this hour, you're going to hear from a trio of Chiefs rookies as rookie minicamp opened today at One Arrowhead Drive. Mansour Delane, R. Mason Thomas, Garrett Nussmeier all on deck. Andy Weingarten will preview the Kentucky Derby with us at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, will join us today at 5:25 following Chiefs practice. We're jam-packed on this Friday. Really glad you're along here on 580 Sports Talk. 3:31 on 580 Sports Talk. It's good to hear from so many of you on this Friday edition of the program as we get things rolling, talking about the Royals, their difficulties in March and April. Some things probably will just resolve themselves, pure regression to the mean, but there does appear to be a talent deficit on this roster, particularly, most notably, in the bullpen. We've got some thoughts first from the YouTube chat. JB says he believes the Royals' problems have been building around an old Salvador Perez, a bad outfield, and a bad bullpen. Well, I would dispute the idea that this team is built around Salvador Perez, but they are still very reliant on Salvador Perez. I don't think they're any less reliant right now on Perez. And they're going to get to that point. Like, ideally, in an ideal world, Carter Jensen continues his strong start, makes some adjustments as the league adjusts to him. He'll adjust back, makes a little bit more contact, cuts down on some of the swing and miss and some of the chase. And I don't think it's out of the question that by the end of the year, he's the regular catcher. Salvador Perez actually off to a really good start defensively. Like, the metrics like his defense so far. Jensen, we've seen like some difficulties. He had the 2 pass balls that led directly to runs on Sunday. He's been really good at framing pitches, which has never been a strength of Perez, but he's not been very good at blocking pitches, which has been typically a strength of Salvi's. Also, Salvi's still, as of right now, got the better throwing arm, more of a deterrent to the running game than Jensen is back there. But again, Jensen's a young player. You would hope that there would be continued growth, and you get to a point where you aren't as reliant on Salvador Perez to be 30 home runs, 100 RBI. But right now, they still kind of are. And I mean, he's in the cleanup spot every day, right? So they are leaning on him. They are asking him to be that player. And he got to be that player by the end of last year. It just took 2 months for him to warm up. Hopefully it doesn't take this long this time around. Royals can't afford to wait around much longer. But he's had some better swings, some louder contact last few games. Hopefully that's the start of something. Salvi, old players, they warm up with the weather. You know how it goes. Mark H. says the Royals need a new HDH. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? And while JJ Piccolo is dreaming, I'm sure he'd love to have a pony. That's the thing about a bull. Like, HDH was generational. Like, that's all time stuff. That's going to be like when we're here and I'm doing this same radio show in 30 years and we're talking about whatever the Chiefs are doing. And we say, man, it sure would be sweet if they could have a quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it would. you might only ever get one of those. And the same goes for a bullpen triumvirate like that. But setting that aside, setting the direct comparison aside, the Royals have lacked a bullpen hierarchy this year. Estevez's injury, unpreparedness for the season, frankly, threw their bullpen hierarchy off. Like, he was going to get the ninth. Urseg was going to be the leverage guy, and then you'd piece it together beyond that. Well, now Urseg's the ninth inning guy, and they've never been able to figure out, like, the hierarchy beyond that. Like, you got the seventh, you've got the eighth, you've got left-handers. Like, they haven't really put that together. Guys are just kind of going in whenever Matt Quatraro feels like that's the button to push. And that's a little bit more modern when it comes to bullpen usage. Like, we have kind of evolved past Ned Yost's bullheaded insistence that Aaron Crow pitches the sixth inning and Kelvin Herrera pitches the seventh inning. Like, you have to be able to be a little bit more adaptable in modern baseball. But I do think the lack of a established routine in the bullpen can be a problem. And I think for this group, it's been one of the problems. Tom in the YouTube chat says we need Scott Barlow back. Did notice old Scotty B out there. If they get prime Scott Barlow back, that'd be great. There's a reason Barlow's kicked around. I think he's on his third or fourth different team the last 3 years now there in Sacramento. So if they get prime Scott Barlow back, that'd be nice. Richard in the live chat as well on the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Move guys around the lineup. Stop benching your future star. I think that's a reference to Jack Caglione. We talked plenty about that on yesterday's show, but I agree 100%. Has to stop being an auto bench against lefties for Jack Caglione. He's got to play every single day. Every single day. Who's more likely to be on a World Series winning Royals team? Jack Caglione or Lane Thomas? And I don't mind the occasional Lane Thomas start. In center field for Kyle Isbell to get an extra bat in the lineup against the left-handed pitcher. But Cags has to learn how to hit left on left. And he's not going to be able to do it in the big leagues, and he's never going to. Don't turn the number 6 overall pick you paid all that money to sign, all that signing bonus money, don't turn him into a platoon player just out of old habit. Last word from the text line from the 785. And this is something else we kind of touched on as we recapped yesterday's loss on the show. Continued sloppy play and mental mistakes fall directly at the feet of the manager. There have been 2 managerial changes already this season in Major League Baseball. Those have happened in Boston, and those have happened in Philadelphia. One of those 2 cities have in common? Media that won't shut up. for lack of a better way to put it, those are environments, those are atmospheres where when people are angry, when the team is underachieving, it is just, the air is full of it. And the airwaves are full of that level of criticism. Now, I've never been a big believer in, like, I don't fire a manager, right? I don't do that. If Matt Contreras was fired, it ain't going to be me who does it. It's going to be John Sherman. It's going to be J.J. Piccolo. They're going to make that decision. I don't get to make that decision. So I always tread real lightly. The other reason I tread real lightly on stuff like that, frankly, I'm not in the clubhouse often enough. I'd love to be, but the reality of this job and our location and the hours of our show, I'm not in the clubhouse often enough. If I'm going to sit behind this microphone every day and say, fire this guy, fire that guy, I better look them in the eye or be able to do it a little bit more often than I get to do it. So that contributes to some of my lack of comfort with going after being that aggressive. But Kansas City as a media market is not Boston, it's not Philadelphia. And that's why you don't have a quick trigger managerial change. You don't have the mood for it. You don't set the mood for it. The fans don't set the mood for it because Kansas City is not just the media market. It's just how people engage with sports. It's different in Kansas City. It's different in the Midwest than it is in Boston and Philadelphia. If Matt Contreras were managing the Philadelphia A's, who did exist at one point, and they were off to this slow a start, maybe Matt Contreras would already have been held to account. That's very possible. But it's just a different environment. It's a different atmosphere. And it's why I don't think you're going to start to see serious motion towards talking about firing a manager before it gets to a point of no return. And May 1st isn't that, typically. But that's the environment. That's Kansas City being different than Boston, different than Philadelphia. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from some Chiefs rookies who spoke earlier today at One Arrowhead Drive on the first day of rookie minicamp on 580 Sports Talk. 342 on 580 Sports Talk. Let's hear from some new Kansas City Chiefs. First day of the 3-day rookie mini camp open today. Some of the new guys talked to the media, including number 6 overall pick in the draft, Mansour Delane. Here's what he had to say.
Talk about your first impressions of being in the building.
Sure, it's great. Just to actually get to play football now and do what I do. So it feels good just getting back to do what I do.
And it's been a little over a week since the draft. Have things slowed down for you?
For sure. I'm just trying to feel at home now and just get comfortable. Just really my main focus, getting that playbook right and just be ready to go.
What went into you ending up with the number 5?
Really wasn't too many options, but really I just like this number, and then I just feel like it was something new.
I know she already had your number 4, so.
So, yeah, he got my number. I can't do anything about that. He the vet. So I'm just fitting in where I can.
What do you know about this franchise? Have you watched? Are you an NFL fan? Have you watched what the Chiefs have been doing?
Oh, for sure. I grew up a Ravens fan. Not a Ravens fan anymore. But obviously, that was some battles. We always could never get past the Chiefs. So I definitely grew up, knowing what y'all do.
Brian Kelly told a story about how you came up to him in practice and said, based off the splits, you knew what the receivers were doing in practice. Do you remember what you said to him? What was going on with that? It just seemed like a kind of interesting story you told about you at the draft.
Yeah. Me and BK, we probably just had a lot of conversations, but really just I think I just take pride in my cerebral part of the game. I just try to understand my alignment, my splits, and to help give me an advantage before the play even happens.
And what did you see from them? How did you know what they were going to do?
You just try to eliminate routes, so if it's a cut split or if it's a wider split, there's only a certain amount of routes you can do. So just eliminating that route tree make the game easier.
You played a lot of different schemes, it seems like, with zone, press, man. What are you most comfortable with, or do you enjoy the aspect of maybe being able to do a lot of different things in that sense?
Yeah, Coach Baker's defense, it was multiple defense. I got to do everything. I think that ultimately led me to be the position I am right now. And just, similar to kind of Spags defense, we play everything. A lot of NFL defenses, they may do one type of thing, but we play every type of coverage.
Were you excited about, did you immediately recognize when you got drafted by the Chiefs that Spags is a guy that does a lot of press? And was that something that was on your mind pretty quickly?
Oh, for sure. A lot of the DBs that come here, they don't stay for long. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means, they're getting developed and, they're getting put in the best positions. So I'm just looking forward to be the next one. Hopefully I stay,
Let's do a couple more.
On that, the Chiefs have kind of floated that they want you to be inside, outside, do a little in college. I guess how comfortable do you feel like you are covering the slot?
Yeah, I can just do whatever the team needs me. Whatever Coach Spags needs me, I'm willing to, try to be the best at it.
Last 2, we'll go Herbie and then Todd.
What kind of scouting report, if we asked you to give on Garrett, you would say about his skill set he's bringing here?
I say just a leader. As big as anything. I think, obviously he's a rookie now, but just his leadership skills and off the field skills, and he's a competitor.
A lot of times guys who come here have never been to an NFL game. You grew up a Ravens fan around. Do you get to go to games when you were a kid? For sure. I went to a couple games, played in the stadium, so I'm very familiar with that. What sort of advice did you get from anyone about, not for the football part and all that stuff, just about off field and being an NFL player? Did you get any advice from anyone so far that's sticking with you? Just be yourself, be a sponge, be humble. That's the main thing I'm trying to do.
That was Mansour Delane. How about another early draft pick on the defensive side? Here's our Mason Thomas speaking earlier today at Chiefs Rookie Minicamp.
And how much do you feel like that's pretty vital to what you do?
Yeah, that's the most important thing about my game is getting off the ball. You got to rep it, and then you got to track kind of help me with it too, just how to start, the stance, what it should look like, and then the coaches here too.
What'd you run on track?
I ran the 1, the 2, the 4, 4x1, 4x4. I wasn't all that fast, but yeah, I wasn't all that fast. It's some South Florida got some speedsters.
You talk about Nick Bonito being one of your influences. Oklahoma's had a bunch of guys similar with that prototype. It just is that what drew you to the school, and just how do you kind of let those guys influence you now that you're in their shoes in the pro level?
Yeah, he definitely was a big influence. The Lord led me to Oklahoma, but he was also one of the part of the reasons that I went to. And yeah, I ask him all the time about different things he looks at, like what he does to help his pass rush, what he focuses on. Like, he's not a big guy, so we don't necessarily have to look at the power, but then he shows us how you use power between that too. So a lot of things.
Just, how much does he come back to campus? How much have you talked to him through the years?
Yeah, he comes back. He'll come back. Last year he came back for the Missouri game, like wherever it lines up on this bye week. He was down in South Florida one time when I was down there. But our schedules don't be aligning sometimes. But, yeah, I seen him.
How do you think your game is going to mesh with the NFL? What do you expect?
Yeah, my game, I think it's not like college, but wherever the defense wants you to play, that's at the end of the day, it's football. So, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a majority of the same. Yeah.
The lighter speed, like rushers, the run game is always a conversation, I guess. How do you hope to prove that you can hold up, say, the edges or anything?
Yeah, I just got to go do it. The tackles here are bigger. They're more technical. They're pros. So, but at the end of the day, you still got to go stick your nose in their chest.
Now that you're here, what is your opinion about the franchise, the environment, the facility?
It's a lot like Oklahoma, really. Kansas City not too far from Oklahoma, but yeah, it's definitely, you see all the trophies, the Lombardis, like it's definitely different, and it's definitely, like a program that's a dynasty for sure.
What went into the selection of 34 for you? That's usually a linebacker number.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some questions about your position too.
Closest to 32, 32's taken. Still open for numbers though.
This isn't the first time you've had Chiefs on your jersey either. What's the coincidence of ending up with that name again?
Yeah, it's actually crazy. They was chanting that in when I got drafted. The guys from Cardinal Gibbons, the Chiefs, they were chanting once a Chief, always a Chief. So that was pretty. Yeah.
We'll go next to Taylor. Then Todd.
Just wondering what the last week's been like for you. It had to have been crazy, just being drafted and then all the phone calls you got and then packing up your bag and getting here.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. To be honest, I thought time was going to freeze for a second, but it just kept on going. Like the next day I woke up, I'm like, whoa. I didn't even really, what do you call that word? I really didn't even realize that I was a Chief because I was looking at the 4th through 7th round. I'm like, the Chiefs pick up somebody. I'm like, oh, I wonder how that looks. Well, I'm going to be there with them. So I didn't even – that's the word, register. It didn't register with me that I was a Chief at one point. But, yeah, the week's been smooth. It's just going back to working out, and it's like, I don't know. It's different.
Things like you're pretty unusual in today's world. You went to one school, didn't transfer. What was that like when you were there? I'm sure there's always people kind of going around trying to get people to transfer and stuff. What kept you there, and you think it was good to stay at one place?
I've been keeping track. You're the 28th person I think that said that. That's pretty unusual. Yeah, I love Oklahoma. I didn't feel like I needed to leave. I knew when I wanted to pick, the Lord led me to pick that school. So I didn't have a drastic reason to like, obviously if they wanted me to play like safety, then obviously I have to leave. But I didn't have a drastic need to change. So I stayed. The Lord called me back for another year, my 4th year. People were talking about coming out 3rd year, and I came back for a 4th year. But yeah, it was either 3 years and done or 4 years and done.
Mm-hmm. And then I heard last night, at the rookie dinner, Texas Longhorn, I guess maybe Keith Cash was talking about Oklahoma and Texas with you.
Yeah.
That stuff sticks with people. Now, is it a little bit weird when you talk to some of these guys and they went to 2 or 3 schools? Do you like the fact that you were just at one place and then you can still talk smack with the guy who played for the Chiefs 25, 30 years ago?
Yeah, I do. It definitely, because you got a lot of stories. You got a lot to relate with them because they've been, like through the culture change or like anything like that. But no, the people that did change their school, whatever school they came from, I probably played them. So it's like different to see them in different teams. So it's kind of cool.
Okay, we'll finish up with PJ. Obviously y'all are early in the playbook, but just I know you like to kind of switch between 2 and 4 point stance, just with your hand down and Derrick. Just do you have a preference, and have you and Spags and Coach Cullen talked about how they want you to line up at all?
No, wherever he wants me to line up, I'll line up. I don't really have a preference between both. Both is kind of the same because you're low enough. So it's kind of, if I do tend to fall, I do put my hand down like I'm in a 3-point. So you're low in both. So I don't really have a preference.
And that was our Mason Thomas speaking at Chiefs rookie minicamp earlier today. Our Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, is still there. They're practicing until 4 o'clock. So we would usually have heard from him in this time frame on a Friday on 580 Sports Talk. He's going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Stay tuned till 5:25 to hear from Matt Derrick, get his impressions from day one of rookie minicamp as well. When we come back, we've got a round of On Second Thought to wrap up this first hour on Friday on 580 Sports Talk. On second thought, I was a big believer in the spring that there could be a bounce back for a couple of guys in the Royals bullpen, particularly Lucas Erceg, Nick Mears, to their previous strikeout levels. Neither of them had shown the ability to get the swing and miss in 2025. Both of them had very good strikeout numbers in 2024. I thought they'd get back there. It was one of my reasons for a little bit of optimism about the Royals bullpen for 2026, and that hasn't happened yet, to say the least. I thought the Royals bullpen, I thought it would be fine. Like, I didn't think we were going to see the resurrection of the mid-2010 Royals bullpens, but I thought they'd piece it together. I thought they had enough guys with track records that they'd be fine, and they have not been fine. They have not been fine. They've been a whole lot worse than fine. The third worst bullpen ERA in baseball, and the peripheral numbers, the sabermetric numbers, if you will, that support a bad start. Bullpen performance can be finicky, right? It can change on a dime sometimes, but it's hard to see too much changing for this group of Royals relievers. Team might have to go outside the organization or outside the big league roster for some answers, because much as I like Carlos Estevez and am rooting for his success, want him to do well when he comes back, even a prime version of Carlos Estevez doesn't fix his bullpen all by himself. And you can look at bullpen woes as a big reason why the Royals find themselves 7 games under 500 entering the month of May. Royals open against the Mariners. First of 3 in Seattle tonight. 8 o'clock pregame on the Royals Baseball Network. 8:45 first pitch. Delayed a bit because it's on Apple TV tonight. It's your only way to watch the Royals, but you can always listen to them right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we are going to do a Chiefs draft do-over. You get one do-over since 2018. What would your Chiefs draft do-over be? We'll set the parameters, and we'll have some fun dialogue. Spencer and Brendan are going to join the show in the 4 o'clock hour, so I'll have some fun debate about your Chiefs draft do-overs. Plus, a new month of What Is Wrong With You and a Kentucky Derby preview with former WIBW-TV personality Andy Weingarten, our horse racing expert. That's all coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 here on this Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Thanks for hanging out with us to wrap up the work week here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News, where you've already seen what I'm about to tell those of you who are just listening. The gang's all here. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis with you in this 4 o'clock hour on this Friday. It's great to have you along. Hope you are all enjoying your Friday afternoon. We got 2 more fun hours here on 580 Sports Talk, including a Kentucky Derby preview at the bottom of this hour with Andy Weingarten, formerly of WIBW-TV and Wave 3 television in Louisville. He's going to fill us in on how he expects the run for the Roses to go. Let's look forward to that.
Love him. Love when we have Andy on. Love talking ponies.
And Matt Derrick's joining us in the 5 o'clock hour today. He is at Chiefs practice, so we're going to get a boots on the ground update from day 1 of Chiefs rookie minicamp, and more great insight from Matt Derrick coming up at 5:25 this afternoon here on 580 Sports Talk. So if you think, oh man, I got to the show late and I missed Matt, no, you didn't. Not today, you didn't. You're still going to get to hear our Chiefs Insider coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. In this hour, in addition to Andy Weingarten previewing the Kentucky Derby, we've also got our first round of What is Wrong with You for the month of May. We'll have a short week winner. Winner today will automatically advance to the end of the month. That's the beauty for those stories that go on Friday of a short week like this, is all they need to do is win their matchup, and they move right to the play-in game. We're also going to do a Chiefs draft do-over. You get one. And not only do you get one, you also get to select the player you would have rather have had from the same draft. And we'll set the parameters, and we'll have a little back and forth about that here coming up in just a little bit. Want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429 is that number. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, or you can leave a comment on our Facebook stream as well, WIBW News. We owe you a keyword for the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. It's the final day. You can be registered for your chance to win $1,000 today from 580 WIBW. And all you have to do to get yourself registered is text a keyword to 785-272-9429. And this hour, the keyword, oh, I get a drum roll for this one. I guess it is the last day. Still, S-T-I-L-L, still, not Bill, not spill, still, S-T-I-L-L, text still to 785-272-9429. You have until 5 o'clock to text that keyword and get registered this hour for your chance to win $1,000 today on the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. Again, that word is still, S-T-I-L-L. Mind your fat fingers, mind your autocorrects, mind your typos. The word is still, S-T-I-L-L. As in, and still, your winner and still heavyweight champion of the world. Yes. Who is the heavyweight champion of the world? Remember that used to be like common knowledge. There's a thing you knew. Everybody knew who like the heavyweight champion of the world was, just like you knew who won the last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And now there's like 17 belts and no one cares.
Yeah. And then at one point, Tyson Fury just made up a fake championship. Remember that?
No, that's
he was
sick.
like, yes.
It's like the UCF of boxing.
He was like, yes, I am the lineal champion, which was also rooted in like some other nefarious mindset things from Tyson Fury. But he was like, yes, I'm actually champion because my blood brothers were champions 200 years ago.
Do you think I could say, if I wanted to, that I could start my own boxing federation and make myself the heavyweight champion?
We live in a post-truth society. You can really do whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want.
All right. So thank you for tuning in to 580 Sports Talk today, featuring heavyweight champion Dan Lucero.
Just say it. Like at some point, someone's like, okay,
yeah, sure.
People will believe
at some point. Yeah. Somebody will make a Wikipedia page for me, and that'll just be there. Dan Lucero, Sports Talk host and heavyweight champion.
Make it for yourself. If I see something as a Wikipedia page, I just go, oh, yeah.
Is that my weight class? I'm weighing in around 220 lately. What is that? Might not be that might not be my weight class. I might be more middleweight.
A great question, actually. I have no idea. Let's see if Encyclopedia Britannica
No,
can
looks
help
like
us.
heavyweight is 200 plus pounds. So, yeah, I've got room to spare. My heavyweight with some room to spare.
That seems low. 200 pounds for...
Well, like Mike Tyson wasn't a big guy, right? Like not tall, and like he wasn't. He fought at what, 225 probably?
Yeah.
And then you have like Butterbean. Yeah, it is a little weird. The heavyweight class is a pretty weird one.
I would be. So these are maximum weights, right? So yeah,
Yes.
I'd be cruiserweight.
You'd be a cruiserweight.
Which is funny that cruiserweight's the second heaviest in boxing, because if you're a cruiserweight in professional wrestling, you're like
the tiny guy,
5'6", 98 pounds soaking wet, and you do a bunch of flips.
Man, shout out to the old WCW cruiserweight division.
Yeah, shout out to Juventud.
Billy Kidman, Shooting Star Press.
It is one of the greatest moves of all time.
Oh, it's so cool. Anyway, what were we talking about? Text still to 785-272-9429 in the Win 1K8 sweepstakes. All right. I stole this idea wholesale from Bill Barnwell's podcast. Bill Barnwell, ESPN.com. We cite him a lot on this show because he does a lot of really good and thought-provoking work. And his podcast this week, I mean, it is the offseason. You got to come up with some football content, scrape the bowl a little bit now that the draft is over. But this is draft adjacent. So what they set the parameters for was 2016 onward, and they gave each NFL team a draft do-over. And the premise was, from your draft pick, you would either get to do over and take the next player who got drafted at that position, or any player taken with one of the next 10 picks in the draft. So that is the parameters that we are working within here. Let's, for the sake of the discussion here, limit our scope to the post-Patrick Mahomes drafts. So the golden era of Kansas City Chiefs football.
Works for me.
From 2018 onward, you get one draft do-over. Who would it be? What would be the pick that you would do over? And now, the way that I tried to think about this, because on the one hand, you can look and say, okay, yes, this player who was drafted 3 spots after the Chiefs pick has had a much better NFL career. Would they have had the same kind of NFL career as a Chief? Would they, the further back you go, would they still be a Chief? Or would they have only been a Chief through maybe their one contract? What value would the Chiefs have gotten out of this player? Would they still be getting value from this player? And that crossed off a few of them for me, limited my scope a little bit. But I do want to hear your guys' answers to this first. I think there is one draft pick, like most people automatically hop to the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick in 2020 as, man, be nice to have that one back. We even have a text from the 785 that said, I assume that would be the consensus do-over pick. Well, let's find out. What was your do-over pick for the Chiefs, Brendan Dworzinski?
So this is really, I picked one for each year, and I put it in my document.
Interesting. Here. So I also did that, except I didn't have one for 2021. Because 2021, you get Nick Bolton and Creed Humphrey with your 2 second-round picks, your 2 highest picks. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I think you're happy with that. Noah Gray in the 5th. Pretty good.
That was the year you traded back, like, 17 spots, got Orlando Brown.
Right.
That's probably the best move Brett Veach's ever made, honestly, and other than being part of the Mahomes discussion.
The other part of that draft, too, in 2021, they took Joshua Kando in the 4th round, and he played 3 NFL games. But the next 10 picks were, like, stellar.
Kenny Gainwell.
Okay.
That is my pick for, not my official pick, but that's the only one I had for 2021. And, like, Kenny Gainwell is a useful NFL player, and in a non-Clyde Edwards-Helaire world, it might have been more useful. But if you only get one, you had Clyde, who you thought was going to catch passes.
Right.
Kenneth Gainwell's whole thing is he's actually a scat back. He's not really a running back.
Right.
So, like, that wouldn't have even made sense. So, yeah, 2021 almost like not applicable here.
Yeah, the 2021, you came away with 2 long-term starters on the offensive line and your defensive captain at linebacker without a first-round pick.
Yeah,
pretty nice job with that draft, even if Joshua Kando and Cornell Powell combined to play 6 NFL games.
Yep.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Cornell Powell, DC Defenders legend.
Yeah. Wow. I always forget. I invite you guys on the show. When you guys are on the show, the chance for UFL talk increases by 100%.
We're football sickos. What can we say?
I did not watch any of that Knicks-Hawks game last night, the historic blowout, because I was busy watching Battlehawks Kings. Derby Day.
They got
whatever
a team
they
called
called
the Kings now, too?
Yeah, Louisville.
Lovely.
And guess what? They, like the NBA's Kings, are bad.
Garbage.
They also traded Jason Bean. That we can handle.
To be a backup quarterback.
All right. That's enough, guys. All right. So if you want to go year by year, we can do that, because I also have one for each year.
Okay, so let's do year by year and then pick like
the consensus.
The consensus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's start in 2018. I thought this was a very easy pick, and this might get my final vote. So the Chiefs' first pick was number 46 overall in the second round. No first because of the Mahomes trade. It was Breeland Speaks.
More like Breeland stinks.
More like Breeland eats. That boy was big. Big gentleman. Not very good. Not exactly a 4-3 end, but also would have been a dwarf as a defensive tackle. Just, yeah. 8 picks later, the Cincinnati Bengals drafted 3-time All-Pro Jesse Bates at safety. I know the Chiefs that offseason would go on to add, or no, it was the following offseason when they added Honey Badger. Yeah, Jesse Bates, knowing what we know now, absolutely would have taken him instead. And granted, if you had said like safety from Wake Forest, what? But he has been so good in the NFL.
See, my thought there was 2 picks later, the Chargers selected Chen Nwosu out of USC, 34.5 career sacks.
Sure.
Just big enough that I think he would have made sense as a Spags DE at that time. And still playing at a high level.
Yeah.
He obviously had the touchdown in Super Bowl 60. So that was my thought there was Nwosu, just because it's the same position. That was 2 picks later.
Sure, that makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah, Jesse Bates probably has had the better career.
And honest to God, the pick after Breeland Speaks was Christian Kirk, and 3 picks later was Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, but would taking a tight end have made sense?
Well, in 2018, certainly not. Just in terms of like, dang, good players went right after this bad player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
1.5 career sacks for Breeland Speaks, by the way.
It's 1.5 more than I thought.
That is the same number as Jair Alexander.
Hell yeah. Love it.
First round pick that year.
That's true.
2019.
All right, 2019. The Chiefs' first pick was number 56 overall. This was the year they went to the AFC Championship game. That pick got moved around. The Chiefs were the 4th team to own that pick. They ended up going with McCole Hardman. Made a play in his second stint with the Chiefs to win a Super Bowl. Had his first year was crazy. He was incredibly productive in his first year. However, and actually, the next 3 wide receivers who went after him, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Paris Campbell, and Andy Isabella. Every one of those dudes sucked royally.
Are they still in the NFL? I don't even know.
Isabella and Arcega-Whiteside did not play in 2025. I know that much.
I think Campbell is still around.
Yeah, he's still kicking around.
Now, Juan Thornhill was picked 7 picks later, so that worked out. Juan Thornhill was a good player till the injury anyway. 8 picks later, another wide receiver, DK Metcalf.
Last pick of the second round by the Seattle Seahawks. And this was mine for this year as well.
And look, Hardman had a good start to his career, but in fact, pick 8 after Hardman, DK Metcalf. Pick 9, Zach Allen. Pick 10, Deontay Johnson. Crazy person, started his career well, though. So I'm going Metcalf, though.
Yeah, Metcalf would be the one for me, too. Again, just what would Mahomes' career look like with a big outside receiver? Like
even with a limited route tree, just throw it high.
Yeah. Slants and goes. You know, Mahomes is pretty good at throwing those.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, if that's all Metcalf can do, that's fine. Slants and goes, okay. Yeah, you have Mahomes throwing to the big guy and how that might have complemented. Now, obviously, again, the thought process in the 2019 draft was they might throw Tyreek Hill out of the league forever. And yes, going into that draft, that was a very real possibility that Tyreek Hill was going to face a super long suspension. Like, we didn't know Tyreek Hill's future was very much up in the air.
Yes.
In the 2019 draft. So Hardman was sort of all right, we need to replace the speed. Like, speed is what we do. We need to replace the speed. This is the fastest wide receiver in the draft. Go get him.
Yeah.
So it made sense at the time. But yes, Metcalf would have been much more appealing in retrospect.
All right, 2020. I
That's
got
where
mad
I
all
went. I
over
did
again.
2020.
What was that?
I did 2020.
Okay.
That's
I think everybody did 2020.
Kind of as the overall here. So Edwards-Helaire went with 32nd overall, last pick of the first round. Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. And he had been on one of the greatest college football teams of all time, 2019 LSU. The following 10 picks, almost all of them really good players.
Yeah.
T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., DeAndre Swift, not great, but a Pro Bowler and a better running back. Xavier McKinney, multi-time All-Pro. Kyle Duggar, useful. Yetur Gross-Matos, whatever. Robert Hunt, above average guard. Ross Blaylock stinks. Jonathan Taylor, and then Laviska Shenault. He's not really anything. So what, like 6 legit NFL starters, if not Pro Bowlers, if not All-Pros in the next 10 picks? Who do you go with for this one? Because you could pick a number of them. Shoot, even if you just said next running back and got DeAndre Swift instead of Edwards-Helaire, that's a big upgrade. And I don't even love Swift.
I think my lean, again, probably be Higgins for the same reason
Yeah.
that Metcalf in 2019 would have been so appealing. Like, big outside receiver for Patrick Mahomes.
And I think you could have even if you brought him along a little bit his rookie season, I think, and if Tyreek still had that very good season that year, maybe you trade Tyreek a year earlier.
Certainly possible.
And that changes the whole dynamic of where your picks land and who you get.
I obviously love my guy, Xavier McKinney, but you didn't need a safety. You didn't need a number one, so to speak, safety at that time because you had Honey Badger, who was literally an All-Pro. Jonathan Taylor with Patrick Mahomes could have happened.
Yeah.
He went 9 picks later.
And, like, Taylor is not like that running back you think of when you think of, like, an Andy Reid type of running back.
No.
Because, you know, he didn't come out of Wisconsin with the reputation that he was going to do a lot of catching passes. No, what he did instead was 2 years in his second year rush for 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns.
Yeah.
In 2021. Yeah. Again, like, Mahomes has never played with a running back that good.
And with the benefit of hindsight, Jonathan Taylor has been next to, like, Derrick Henry, like the most consistent running back in the NFL.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Save for the injured season.
Yeah, he had 2 years where he didn't finish the year effectively. 2022, 2023 dealt with injuries, but those other 4 years, he's been well over 1,000 yards and a touchdown making machine.
Over 90 yards a game 3 times, over 100 yards in his career twice. Like, imagine that with Patrick Mahomes.
Which of those, if we put it between Higgins and Taylor, which of those, let's live in a world where the Chiefs took one of those guys and had the 5th-year option on him, so the 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 seasons, which of those 2 players do you think would most likely still be a Chief if they had been drafted in that slot?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So if we're talking most likely to have still been a
Most
Chief,
likely to have gotten a second contract.
It's probably Higgins.
Yeah.
Which changes the calculus here if you phrase it that way. Because if you were just asking me, like, okay, first contract you take it, I'm taking Taylor. Because you want to talk about putting a defense in conflict. Like, okay, what do you do? Yeah, Kelsey, Hill, whoever else you throw out there at receiver. And then you've also got to deal with the running game in Taylor. Oh, and by the way, if you somehow keep everyone covered, Mahomes is going to run for 12 yards on 3rd and 8. Like, truly, what do you do kind of situation. But if you're asking who would have gotten a second contract, it's probably Higgins. And if you don't trade Hill a year earlier, you're at least having the how long is Tyreek Hill going to be around because we drafted T. Higgins conversation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably T. That's an interesting way to look at it.
All right. What about, we talked about 2021, not really an obvious redo there. 2022, it's got to be the Sky Moore pick at 54, right?
Yes. Yeah. After him, so hold
there's
on.
2 guys for me that stand out as, boy, it'd be cool to have him.
Yes. Again, the Chiefs had a pick fewer than 10 picks later. They got Brian Cook, a good player.
Yes.
A very useful player. Yeah, there's a couple decent options in here. like Cam Taylor-Britt's a nice player. Would have been nice to have him at corner, but you just took Trent McDuffie in the first round of the same draft.
Right. So that wasn't going to happen.
Exactly 10 picks later, Nick Bonito. 9 picks later, James Cook, who led the NFL in rushing this year. I am going to be extremely selfish with my decision for 2021, though. I'm going to get really greedy. The current best tight end in the NFL went 1 pick later.
Trey McBride. Yeah, Trey McBride, 1 pick after Sky Moore.
12 personnel with Kelsey and McBride.
Yes, because we know this is about the time when the Chiefs really started to lean into 12 personnel in 2022. Yeah, imagine doing that with Trey McBride and not second-year Noah Gray.
Yeah, man. He's so good. He is just an awesome
He's
player.
really, really good. To your point about Bonito, again, not really a Spags fit, 240-some pounds.
No.
Obviously a really, really good player, but not a pick they would have made. James Cook, yeah, that'd be like, you talk about a running back Andy Reid could find some use for.
Well, if you wanted to play the realism game, too, they did take a running back in this class. They took Pacheco.
Yes, they did. They took him in the 7th round.
So not completely out of the realm of possibility.
2023, the do-over has to be Felix at 31 overall. Again, there were only 31 first-round picks that year. Somebody had to forfeit theirs.
I think this one is extremely obvious.
Is it
Joey Porter?
I had Joey Porter Jr.
That's why I had.
That's Sam Laporta.
Yeah, Laporta would also make some sense. And honestly, Laporta, if you want
Laporta went 34th. Porter went 1 pick after Felix.
Yeah, you could. I could see Laporta. I don't think I would have any problem with
And even
that.
if they'd stuck with defensive end, like the next defensive end that went off the board, Derrick Hall, and he's not a superstar, but he's got 10 sacks in 3 years, just helped Seattle win a Super Bowl.
Actually, the next defensive end to go off the board,
after Felix, no, it was Derrick Hall.
Derrick Hall, was he listed? Oh, okay, he was listed at linebacker here on Wikipedia anyway. That's where my confusion was. It was like Isaiah Foskey. No. Yeah, I think Porter or Laporta both make sense.
All right, lastly, 2024, who's your do-over?
Oh, you didn't do one for 25?
No, I didn't do one for 25. Too early.
Yeah, but imagine Harold Fannin in this offense.
Fair enough.
It'd be so fun. All right, 2024. I went with, which one did I go with? This was a little difficult, but I went with Xavier Worthy as my do-over.
I did too.
Okay, who? I went with the next wide receiver off the board.
Ricky Pearsall?
I went with Ricky Pearsall. I missed Ladd.
Yeah,
okay, Ladd McConkey.
Yeah,
Ladd McConkey. Yeah.
6 picks later.
Sorry,
that was
I just glossed over that. I saw Keon Coleman right above him, and I just glossed over McConkey. So yeah, McConkey would be the easy pick.
Yeah. All right. So we only get one, and Spencer, you already said it would be swapping out the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick. I think that's probably the one for me too.
Yeah.
And get T. Higgins, because then
I think you win the Super Bowl that year.
Well, here's the added bonus. Like the thorn in your side, the Cincinnati Bengals that year, or the year after, and the year after that. Yeah, like they have Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, and that's a good one too. But it ain't the 1, 2, 3 that was beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Plus, you'd have someone who could catch a ball.
Yes, you would have had a much better receiving core. Yeah, like I don't know. Like maybe it doesn't overturn the 2020 game result, but I certainly think it gets them back to the Super Bowl in 21. And maybe they win 3 straight Super Bowls.
Just to be different, I'm going to say Trey McBride instead of Sky Moore.
Okay.
Like you would not have to worry about tight end for the next 8 years. Like he's so good. He's so good. Just to be different though.
Fun little game. Want to hear your thoughts. 785-272-9429 or the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with What Is Wrong With You, and then we've got Andy Weingarten previewing the Kentucky Derby on 580 Sports Talk. It is What Is Wrong With You time for the first time in the month of May here on 580 Sports Talk. We've got two news stories competing today, and the winner today obviously wins the week because it's Friday and goes straight to the play-in round of the May Championship at the end of this month. We welcome listener submissions of all kinds on What Is Wrong With You, and today my What Is Wrong With You was submitted by my mom. Occasional listener, YouTube viewer of the show. My mom says she was watching the local TV news.
Hello.
And saw a story, and it made her think, what's wrong with that guy? And then made the connection to my segment, decided,
wait a minute.
Yeah. Sent me the story via email, and it definitely passes muster. We're going to Boulder, Colorado, where a man allegedly stole a fire rescue engine immediately after his release from jail. Boulder Police Department said nobody was seriously injured in the incident. 11:32 p.m. Tuesday, Boulder police officers responded to the 4500 block of 19th Street after a person called to report a man was trying to get into cars and homes in the area. When officers arrived, they detained the man and took him to jail at midnight. He was booked on a charge of third-degree trespassing. Around 3:30 a.m., per Colorado statute, he was released from jail. He was identified as 33-year-old Richmond Takashi Johnson. Around that same time, 3:30, Boulder Fire Rescue responded to the jail for an unrelated medical call. While that crew was treating a patient in the jail's lobby, Johnson got into the fire engine and drove away. Jamie Barker, with the understatement of the century, public information officer for Boulder Fire Rescue. It's so uncommon for something like this to happen. You don't say. There are a certain number of things you need to do to be able to run that engine. What, have the keys?
Yeah, important.
Police officers pursued Johnson, as did deputies with the Boulder County Sheriff's Office. He was spotted and did not stop for law enforcement. He went out, got as far as Highway 287. Law officers with the Longmont Police Department deployed stop sticks, and Johnson lost control of the engine, came to a stop in downtown Longmont. He jumped out of the truck and ran away. A few minutes later, he was arrested. Barker said the full extent of the damage to the engine won't be known for a few days. It's too early to say whether it will be repaired or replaced. The stolen engine is one of only two electric fire trucks put into service less than a year and a half ago by Boulder Fire Rescue. Johnson has an extensive criminal history and only got more extensive. He was brought to jail on charges of obstructing a police officer, felony motor vehicle theft, 2 counts, resisting arrest, reckless driving, felony criminal mischief, felony vehicular eluding, reckless endangerment, and driving after revocation prohibited. So he got out of jail and said, actually, I'd like to go back. Your story today, Spencer.
You're going to Grapevine, Texas. An employee of a Chick-fil-A store in Texas is accused of stealing more than $80,000 from the business in a scheme involving Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. Grapevine police told KDFW and WFAA that Kayshawn Jones was fired from the Chick-fil-A in October. Last November, police said Jones came back to the store and used the register to ring up about 800 orders of mac and cheese and then issued refunds to his personal credit cards. Authorities said the transactions totaled more than $80,000. Police said Jones was captured on surveillance video. The investigation began when the store owner reported the theft. He evaded arrest for months, but was finally taken into custody just in April 17th. Online jail records from Tarrant County show he is charged with property theft, money laundering, evading arrest, unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, and fraudulent use of identification. He is being held on bond, $117,500 bond.
So, how did he get back in behind the counter? Did nobody know he had been fired? He just show up in the red polo, and everybody's like, "Oh, Keyshawn's back to work today." Hey, man,
he was doing a Costanza.
He was on a little sabbatical.
Literally a Seinfeld plot.
Yeah. Just show up. If nobody else knows you're fired, what do you do with the receipts? 800 orders. Kind of lazy. You got to make it look like a real order.
Yeah.
And be 800 dozen nuggets with Polynesian sauce and a lemonade and fries. Done that 800 times. He might have gotten away with further detection.
I am so hungry.
800 orders of mac and cheese.
Spencer and I were talking about food before we came in the studio, and I was like, dude, I have to close this website. I'm too hungry.
I respect that. So we got the Chick-fil-A scam, and we've got guy stealing a fire truck right after he got let out of jail. Walked out of jail and walked into the cab of the fire truck. And
that's crazy.
Went on a high-speed chase.
All right, I'm going to go. I like both these stories. I'm going to go fire truck because I
Yeah.
think too much, I'll second guess myself.
Yeah, we're going to go with the stolen fire truck. You got a winner, Mom, on this week's edition of What Is Wrong With You. We will take a timeout. When we come back, Andy Weingarten, our horse racing expert, will join us to preview the 152nd Kentucky Derby. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. .439 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, and Spencer with you. On Saturday evening, it's the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. And as is our tradition here on 580 Sports Talk, we welcome in former WIBW-TV and Wave 3 in Louisville employee and our horse racing expert on the show. Andy Weingarten joined us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Andy, so wonderful to hear from you and have you back on the show.
It's great. This is 38 consecutive years, I think. I love every minute of it.
Well, we are sure glad to have you back, and it is great to talk about the Run for the Roses, the 152nd Kentucky Derby. We got to start here, Andy. What kind of weather are we looking at for Saturday?
It's a little cooler around here than normal. It looks like when they run the race, it'll be somewhere around 60 degrees. Should be sunshine and a fast track. So really, it's pretty ideal. Just a little cooler than what we're normally accustomed to.
It's a full field. We've got all 20 posts full for now. Haven't had any scratches to date, about 24 hours or so out of the race. What stands out about this field for the 152nd Derby?
I really think this field it's pretty wide open. I don't see a standout horse. You know, a lot of times you see one horse that, you know, is going to be a prohibitive favorite, and the only thing that matters is whether he gets a good trip. And if he gets a good trip, he's going to win, although more times than not they don't. I think there's this year no standout horses, but 7 or 8 of them that I think have a legitimate chance to win.
The current money line favorite is Renegade, trained by Todd Pletcher, but he's out of the number 1 post, and that's typically not been a place where horses have gotten the best results. What about Renegade makes him, in your mind, the betting favorite despite maybe a difficult starting spot?
Well, I think the fact that he's a closer. So the thing about the number 1 spot is there is no chance that you can go to the lead early because 100 yards in front of you, you've got the rail, and you have to account for that. So the fact that he's a closer, he can sit back. He doesn't have to worry about getting out to an early lead. He can sit back and hopefully navigate his own good trip and perhaps win it that way. If he was one that was going to go to the lead early, the number one hole would be basically a death wish for him.
We're talking to Andy Weingarten, year number 38 for our horse racing expert, joining us here on 580 Sports Talk. Andy joining us via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline as we preview the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby, coming up tomorrow late afternoon, early evening. Let's talk about the closers here, Andy. I like when I'm at the races or I'm betting on a race, I like the closers. I find it fun. You get that extra juice right before the race ends. Who are the standout closers in this field?
Well, actually, Renegade would probably be at the top of the list. Renegade is definitely a closing horse. In fact, this year, most of the top horses are considered stalkers or closers. One of the best ones was Scratched, unfortunately. Right to Party was one that a lot of people liked. He was a definite closer. Also, some of the longer shots in the field this year are closers. In particular, So Happy and Golden Tempo are a couple of them that people may want to watch.
Dan, a moment ago, just mentioned Renegade, the betting favorite, and obviously Todd Pletcher. That's a name. If you pay attention to horse racing at all, to the Derby at all, you know the name Todd Pletcher. You also probably know the name Bob Baffert, who, of course, is back at the Derby. We remember the drama from a few years ago. He's got a couple of horses in the field here, Andy, but they're not exactly favorites here. If I'm not mistaken, we're looking at 20-1 and 50-1 odds on his two horses. What are we thinking of the Baffert duo going into this weekend?
Well, the one I think he has the most confidence in is Potente, which is the 14 horse at 20-1. And he should, that horse should be, if not in front, at the near the top of the leaderboard for the first three quarters, maybe even a mile. I would expect that horse likely then to fade at that point. The other horse, I've got to look that one up because he's a long shot.
Litmus test.
Which one?
In the 4, Litmus test.
Litmus test. That's it. Yeah. I'm trying to remember 20 horses at once, and it's kind of hard to do. That's why I have so much admiration for the people that call these races. That they learn 20 horses and they can see them so easily. Yeah, Litmus test. Really not. I don't really see Litmus test as much of a threat at this point. Never really ran in the kind of the higher up Derby prep races, and just nothing really there that I can see on that one.
Speaking of, Andy, the folks who broadcast these races, how about Donna Brothers at NBC stepping away after this year? 45 years, I believe it is, close to it, in the sports, in the sport of horse racing, former jockey yourself. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal for broadcasting for the Sport of Kings.
Yeah, it is. It is. She's been great. I mean, as long as I can remember. I think she started when I was a teenager when she started broadcasting horse racing. So yeah, it's a huge loss for the industry. But like everything else, time moves forward, and some of the people that are the classics, they eventually retire and move on to other things, and you'll have somebody equally as good that will take her place.
We're talking to Andy Weingarten, our horse racing expert, formerly of WIBW-TV and Wave 3 TV out in Louisville, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline as we get ready for the Kentucky Derby coming up tomorrow. One Japanese horse in the field this year, Andy, that's Wonder Dean, trained by Daisuke Tagayanagi. Spencer is going to give us his insight onto Daisuke here in a little bit. He's running out of the 10 spot here. I'm curious, though, when it comes to horses coming from Japan or other, international far-off places, do they have any sort of advantage when it comes to Churchill Downs? Are they at a distinct disadvantage? What's sort of the different things that go into it with these international horses?
Well, they're at a disadvantage. They're not used to large fields, number one. Number two, they're really hard to handicap because some of the computerized like Equibase speed figures and things like that, they're not available. So it's you pretty much have to look at their times and try to compare them to the American horses, but they've never had much success. I mean, no Japanese run horses ever won the Derby, and very few of them even finish on the top 4.
For those not in the know, can you, and I'm sure there's a lot of detail that goes into this, but can you sort of explain to us how you end up racing in the Kentucky Derby? Like, you could go to a track, there's one up in Lincoln, for example. When I grew up in Chicago, there were a bunch of different tracks. Arlington is where I used to go as a kid. And you'd say, hey, that's a fast horse. Great. But how do you go from, hey, that's a fast horse to this is a Derby quality horse?
Well, the only way they can qualify is by what they call the point system. And so there are certain races, all the what we call prep races, as a 3-year-old leading up to the Derby, you get points depending on where you finish. A lot of these horses Derby based on their last race because they get 100 points for winning the Arkansas Derby or the Wood Memorial or the Bluegrass Stakes. And so it's strictly on a point system to get in there. And a lot of that is why some of the horses that maybe won other races and may have even made more money winning those races don't get in until somebody scratches. And that's kind of what's happened here in the last 2 or 3 days. Some of the horses that maybe were a little better didn't quite have enough points, so they don't get in until somebody scratches.
Our Kentucky Derby correspondent, Andy Weingarten, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. All right, Andy, it's time to get our picks on the record. We'll start with your show horse, your third place finisher in the 152nd Kentucky Derby. Who's coming in third?
Okay, before I do that, I want to give you all one quick congratulations on the recruitment of Tyran Stokes. Just
yeah!
Yes, that makes our resident Jayhawk, Brendan, very happy.
That's right.
Yes.
Fired up for it, Andy.
That was between Kansas and Kentucky, and you guys got them.
Love it.
All right. Anyway, I always look for long shots that are closing to finish third in the Kentucky Derby because you're passing a lot of tired horses down the stretch. You may not hear anything from this horse until the very end, where all of a sudden he sneaks into third. I like the 19-horse Golden Tempo for the long shot to finish third.
All right. Your place horse, second place finisher. Who you got?
This was the horse that I thought had the best kick in the final group of prep races, and this is the 18-horse Further Ado. Just absolutely exploded down the stretch. Had the fastest final eighth of a mile time of any of these horses, and this was in the Bluegrass. So I like Further Ado to win, finish second.
And finally, who's going to win the 152nd Kentucky Derby?
I'm never really good with using the favorites, but I'm going to in this case. I'm going to go with the 1-horse Renegade. I think he's got the best bloodlines, and the fact that he's a closer, he can start from the number 1 position. I think he can stay out of traffic. He can stay out of trouble. If he gets a good, clean race, I think he's the one that hits the finish line first.
Proven jockey as well, and Erod Ortiz Jr. Renegade is the pick to win by Andy Weingarten, our Kentucky Derby correspondent, formerly of WIBW-TV here in Topeka and Wave 3 Television in Louisville. Andy, it is always a pleasure. Enjoy the race, and we'll talk to you for the second leg of the Triple Crown in a couple of weeks.
All right. Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That is Andy Weingarten.
I'm thinking exact the box on Andy's winning place. I'm thinking Renegade and Further Ado would exact the box.
I think I like Further Ado to win. I mean, I'm not going out on a big limb here, 6-1, but won at the Bluegrass by 11 lengths.
And Andy was fired up about it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in there.
Yeah, I think Further Ado is my pick to win it.
Now, I do have to add this as well, why I do kind of need Renegade to win here.
Because they're going to break your thumbs.
So one of my fantasy football leagues, I may or may not have finished dead last season.
Oh, dear.
It was not very good. I stink at fantasy football. I'm just putting that out there. I suck at it. I might know as much about football as anyone in that league, but fantasy, bad. Just bad, constantly. But the following season, to pick the draft order, we all draft a horse in the Derby. And then the order of our picks, the order they finish, is the draft order. So since I was worst, I got to pick my horse first. I picked Renegade as the favorite. So, Renegade, I want that first overall pick, buddy. I need that first pick.
What is the best horse name in the field?
That's a good one.
I'm going to go with the 11-horse Chief Wallaby. I really enjoy that name.
Chief Wallaby's a good one. I like the 9-horse, the Puma. That kind of rules?
Did you see The Ringer, Tyler Parker, The Ringer, put out a list of the 152 best horse names in the history of the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, no, dude. I got to go find that. That's awesome.
Yes. My favorite on the list, I have to say real quick, I think the 16th place horse in 2006, Sinister Minister.
Yeah, that's sick. The Puma made his list, in fact.
And I will always, of course, be partial to the 2024 champion, Mystic Dan.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with Change My Mind to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. All right, let's wrap up this 4 o'clock hour with a quick change my mind, shall we? Change my mind. Jack Caglione should be in the middle of the Royals order, 3 through 5, one of those spots every day.
Yeah, agreed. No, I'm not going to change your mind there. I'm at a point with the Royals, if I am the Royals, I need to get something going, and getting him more at-bats is that something. I don't think building a batting order in the sense that, oh, well, Royals fans, I know you're going to disagree with me on this, but like, well, Alcides Escobar just has to hit first because that's the way we win when that happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the exception that proves the rule.
Right.
I don't care about like 4th versus 7th or whatever, but the goal is to just get your best players more plate appearances. And if you're batting 4th, over time, you're going to have more plate appearances than if you're batting 7th. That's just kind of the way it works when the order turns over. So, yeah, I want him batting an extra time or two a game. I want him behind Bobby Witt Jr. a little bit. I want more Caglione. So, yes, I'm going to agree with you on that.
All right. Me too. I mean, look, if you don't, why draft him and why did they do the things they did to get him to the big leagues last year if you're not going to play him every day?
What do I want? I want to do something derby here. Change my mind. Okay. Change my mind. The Kentucky Derby looks like a lot more fun watching at home than being there.
Depends on the weather, first and foremost. But yeah, man, that's a level of like rich person decadence and debauchery that frankly, I don't know that I'm cut out for. Like decadence and debauchery I can do. Sure. Rich person decadence and debauchery, it's a different language.
Oh, I'm sorry. What drug are you taking? I've never even heard of that one.
Right.
Well, and it's such a short amount of time. Like if you go there, you have to carve out a whole darn day, but if you're watching the Kentucky Derby, you carve out like 10 minutes.
Like, okay, like if I'm in the pit at Daytona, like I feel like I'd fit right in, just eat beers for 8 hours,
Sure,
and watch the race, and it is what it is. But like at the Kentucky Derby, it's mint juleps, and like you gotta know who's related to who and what bloodline the horses are all from, and it just seems very exhausting.
You ever been to a horse race?
Yes, when I was a young kid.
I never have, no.
Dude, if you get a chance, it is a blast. They're so fun. I got to get up to Lincoln and go to the track at some point.
Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we got our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a playoff roundup. We've got a preview of this weekend series between the Royals and the Mariners. And our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, will join us after the first day of rookie minicamp. It's all coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Well, let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk. It's our final hour of the week with you here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. Like and subscribe, folks. Check us out in color, even if that color's a little washed out. I'm wearing a green shirt, and because of the lighting in our studio, our main talk studio, it looks like neon, almost like nuclear waste green.
Well,
it's a regular green, right? You can attest. Like, this is a regular green.
I will say it doesn't help that, like, a part of the lighting bank is out. Part of them are old lights. Part of them are new lights. I think it would look a little different if you had all the lighting, or
like a more, like, it's just a simple, like, this is just a computer camera. Like, you know, under, like, if we had like professional videography, you know, like, we got a computer camera like the same that you can buy, and that serves our purpose. We don't need anything fancier than that. But yeah, the lighting in this room has always been weird and always kind of washed us out a little bit.
It's almost like you could put something on top of the, like, under the lights that they do in TV studios.
Yeah.
And it would help.
It
would just like a sheet or something, like a clear sheet.
Yeah, we could maybe do something like that. Yeah, again, these were designed, built with radio in mind, not necessarily the video medium. But we do appreciate those of you who check us out and who chat with us on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. The live chat is open throughout the show. We appreciate it being the lively and friendly and interesting place that it always is on this Friday. You can also text the program if you'd like to interact with us a more traditional way. Send us a text, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. We are down to our final keyword for the day and for the contest. The Win 1K a Day sweepstakes here on 580 WIBW. This is the last day. I sure hope somebody listening out there wins the final $1,000. If somebody out there listening hasn't already won the $1,000, I'm not in control of that. If I would have drawn all of your names, you specifically, you, the one listening to this, I would have picked you to win the $1,000 because you're special to me. I would have picked you, but they don't give me that kind of power. These things all happen above my head. All I do is tell you what to do. And what to do is text the keyword to 785-272-9429. You have until 6 o'clock to text this keyword, and it'll be your last chance to get entered today and for the contest for your chance to win $1,000 from 580 WIBW. And the word, appropriately enough, lucky. Lucky, 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 as in hope you're the lucky winner of today's $1,000. Text lucky, Lucky, lucky to 785-272-9429. You have until 6 o'clock to text lucky to 785-272-9429 and get yourself entered for your chance to win $1,000. Coming up this hour on the show, in about 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He is our Chiefs insider, and he'll be a little late joining us today because the Chiefs practiced until 4. So he was out at One Arrowhead Drive. He was getting a first look at rookie camp today.
And a first look at new position coaches on the field for the Chiefs.
That's true. It's first day of school, you know? It's like orientation, right? You get the freshmen on campus before everybody else comes back, and the freshmen have a few days to explore the campus. And
as Marshall called it, the week of welcome.
The week of interesting. That's kind of a nice name.
Yeah.
So it is. That's what this is. It's the weekend of welcome,
or Wow Week.
Sure. We'll call it Wow Week for the Chiefs newly drafted players, newly signed UDFAs, and players that are on rookie camp invitations as well. So we'll get Matt Derrick's firsthand account of what he got a chance to see today. That's coming up in about 15 minutes or so here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll also have a preview of this weekend's Royals-Mariners series. Game 1 of that series tonight here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9 8 o'clock pregame, 8:45 first pitch. And if you're not an Apple TV subscriber, you can't see it. So if you want to hear it, you know where to go. Just leave your dial right here. 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. It's Cole Reagans on the hill for Kansas City. Brian Wu on the mound for Seattle. But before we get there, let's get to our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Let's start with a couple of Chiefs headlines today. Mention the undrafted free agent signings. There were, in the end, 20 players who were signed as UDFAs to the Chiefs' 90-man camp roster. And they are, in alphabetical order, as follows. Duke defensive end Vincent Anthony. Miami linebacker Wesley Besaint. Texas defensive tackle Cole Brevard. Cal wide receiver Jacob DeJesus. Toledo edge Anthony Dunn. Washington wide receiver Omari Evans. Wyoming tight end John Michael Gillenborg. Iowa edge rusher Ethan Herkett. Colorado defensive tackle Amari McNeil. Iowa safety Xavier Wampa. Louisville center Pete Nigra. Oklahoma running back Jaden Ott. Michigan defensive tackle Damon Payne. Louisiana Monroe cornerback Diarco Perkins McAllister. That sounds like one of those Key and Peele names.
Yeah.
Isaiah T. Billings Clyde. Anyway, San Diego State cornerback Bryce Phillips. Nebraska safety Deshaun Singleton. Texas A&M running back E.J. Smith. That is the son of Emmitt Smith. LSU guard Josh Thompson. Houston quarterback Zelmar Vetter. And one who got mentioned at the top of the list that I forgot to put in alphabetical order, Cincinnati wide receiver Jeff Caldwell.
NFL analyst Lou Riddick went on NFL Live yesterday, and he really likes Caldwell. He thinks he's got a chance to do something with make the practice squad or the team this year.
So if you're familiar with the RAS scores, the relative athleticism scale, the RAS score, this is a big deal in NFL front offices. You get rated on a score 1 out of 10 relative to your position and all that stuff. Jeff Caldwell got a 10.
So a lot of
straight
guys,
10 out of 10. The only wide receiver who has ever tested better than him is Calvin Johnson. Like, athletically, that's what you're dealing with when it comes to Jeff Caldwell. And when you think about that kind of athleticism, it's like, well, God, how the hell did that guy not get drafted? Because he's big and he's fast and he can jump. And he just wasn't super productive for Cincinnati last year. He caught 32 passes, 478 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's not like the profile of, oh, this is definitely a future star. He's a transfer. He's a Division II kid. He transferred from Lindenwood to Cincinnati for his final year of eligibility. So that's probably another reason.
Lindenwood D1 FCS?
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah, you're exactly right. They've been D1 for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Now, they used to be in the MIAA, so they'll always be like
in your head.
In my head, yeah. They'll always be D2 to me. But FCS transfer up, so that's maybe another part of the reason why he went under the radar. But like athletically speaking, he is an NFL athlete. There is zero doubt about that. And all of the wide receivers in this group, DeJesus out of Cal, Omari Evans out of Washington are the other ones. And you can throw Wyoming tight end John Michael Gillenborg out of Rockhurst High School in this pass catcher mix as well. They're all super interesting because the Chiefs just don't have a lot of established rostered guys at those positions. The door is absolutely open for somebody to make an impression and win a roster spot as a pass catcher, as a UDFA. Yeah. And it's really easy to dream on Caldwell because the athleticism is just like unbelievable. If you're telling me the only guy who tested better at wide receiver ever is Calvin Johnson, like I would love to see Jeff Caldwell make the team. Again, I'm pounding the table. I'm dying for the Chiefs to give a big wide receiver, a big athletic wide receiver to Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Jeff Caldwell is that guy. Also think it bears watching the defensive tackles here because the Chiefs addressed it early in the draft, but Brett Veach had talked about adding more at that position, and then they never did after they drafted Peter Woods. So Cole Brevard out of Texas, Amari McNeil out of Colorado, Damon Payne out of Michigan. I think a couple of names to watch as they fight for a roster spot as well.
I would say Jaden Ott, the running back, might be a name to watch because he comes from Oklahoma, where running back coach DeMarco Murray comes from. So he might be a practice squad guy.
Yeah, has some familiarity, and I'm sure that DeMarco Murray will advocate for his guys. So, yeah, he's got a chance to hang around. He was awesome at Cal. Awesome. And just couldn't stay on the field. There was some injuries there at Oklahoma and just wasn't quite the same player. But if like he's physically right, yeah, he's another guy that I think could be interesting to watch.
Can I give a quick shout out here?
Yeah,
it says what on the thing below that it says more than 70 players trying out, so there'll be some roster changes probably to that UDFA list. Marshall DB Cam Smith,
okay,
trying out for the Chiefs this weekend.
Very cool. Yeah. All right, you want to give the other Chiefs headline from today? Very expected, but made official today.
Yes, very expected, and the Chiefs officially declined the 5th-year option on Felix and DK Uzama. If somebody said, why did they do that? Then you did not watch a down of defensive football for the Chiefs in the last few years.
Well, yeah, it just hasn't
worked out.
Hasn't clicked. Obviously, missed all of last year with an injury. He's on his last chance, and right now on the depth chart, like he's number 4 on the depth chart as it currently stands. Like he's got a chance to make the roster. It would be quite shocking if a 4th-year first-round pick did not make the roster, but what has he done to justify the roster spot? It's unfortunate, but it's true. Like we talked about earlier this week, everybody's going to be rooting for Felix, but everybody would love to see him come good, but the Chiefs clearly aren't willing to gamble on it beyond this year. Let's get to the Kansas basketball headlines today. A couple of signings were made official. We'll start with the high school signing of Grant Mordini, a center who has been added to the 26-27 roster. Bill Self in a press release said, we're excited about Grant coming to Kansas. At 6'11", he will add depth at the center position and be a guy that makes us better every day in practice. He's been well drilled and well coached, and we look forward to having him be a part of our program. He's originally from Lake Forest, Illinois, did a prep school year this past year. 6'11", kind of a stretch 5. This is the Corbin Allen addition to this year's Kansas roster, where like very good high school player, probably not a Kansas level player, but hey, if he pops in practice, you never know. And he'll redshirt and he'll practice and be tall against all the other tall guys that Kansas has brought in. So
the key
that's what you're looking for.
The key here is when in the statement, Bill Self said, be a guy that makes us better every day in practice.
Yes, this is not somebody that they brought in and pencil him in for 10 minutes a night. Yeah. He's going to be obviously behind Paul Mbia and Christian Reeves and Davion Adkins in the post. But you add a player like that, you take a flyer, and who knows. Speaking of one of those names I just mentioned, that was the other signing made official for KU today, Spencer.
Yeah, Christian Reeves officially signs on the dotted line. And Bill Self said, quote, I think that Christian will have an immediate impact for us. He really didn't have an opportunity to play a ton at the College of Charleston, and what was so impressive is that he averaged over 11 points and 8 rebounds a game with a hurt shoulder all season long. It's exciting because he dealt with so many injuries, and for the first time in his college career, we can see the potential because it's the first time he's really been able to play.
You wouldn't say that a lot of guys who have 1 year of eligibility left are upside plays, but I think in some ways Reeves really is, because he has had the injuries. He didn't really get on the floor much at Duke. Just maybe starting to come into his own as a player for this final season of eligibility. I'm interested to see what he brings. Certainly going to bring size. He's been a defensive presence. He's been a rebounding presence. KU needs that. But it sounds like from that implication that Bill Self thinks there's even some upside beyond just that. So be interesting to track him. One more headline before we get to the playoff roundup. Something to keep an eye on this weekend. PGA Tour is at the Blue Monster in Miami. Doral, Trump National, in the Cadillac Championship. Blue Monster is a dope nickname for a golf course.
Yeah.
It's a super cool nickname. And I know Trump bought it so he get his name on it, but Blue Monster was a cool name. We can call it on ESPN.com. It is referred to as Trump National Doral (parentheses) Blue Monster. Make sure you put some respect on the Blue Monster's name. Anyhow, the professional sports franchise of Topeka, Kansas, Gary Woodland, is in the field, and he's in the hunt again, playing some terrific golf. He's 3 under for today after he shot a round 168, 4 under on Thursday. He's in the late flight today, one of just a handful of golfers still out on the course. 3 under for the day, 7 under for the tournament. That puts him in a tie for 4th place right now, 6 shots behind Cameron Young, who has lit the course up for currently leads the field by 4. This is a signature event, so it's a $20 million purse, and it's big FedEx Cup points, but it's also a bit of a diminished field. Like Rory's not playing. There are a handful of big names that are skipping this particular signature event. But Gary Woodland in the hunt again. He's tied for 4th with Jordan Spieth, interestingly enough. Cameron Young with a 4-shot lead. Woodland trails the leader by 6. But chance for another very good weekend for Gary Woodland as he looks to move even closer to securing one of those FedEx Cup playoff spots and full exemptions on the tournament or on the PGA Tour for next year. Love to see that for G-Dub, playing some awesome golf.
Sam Smith also there as well. He's playing 2 under.
Sam Stevens?
Sam Stevens, yes.
Yes. Wichita's own. Yeah, he's in a tie for 28 with a bunch of players.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler's there. He's 5 under today. He's tied for 6th at 6 under. He'll probably win. He's one. You see him in the hunt, you kind of assume, yeah, Scotty will find a way. But
he's always got those 2 first couple days that they're like iffy, and then he turns it on Saturday into Sunday.
Yeah, G-Dub though having a day, having a weekend, and look forward to seeing some TV coverage of the professional sports franchise of Topeka, Kansas. Let's get a playoff roundup to round up our headlines today.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
So we got a pair of upsets out west in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs as both of last year's conference finalists are out. Last night in Minnesota, in St. Paul, Quinn Hughes broke a third-period tie. Minnesota pulled away from Dallas 5-2. That sets up a massive second-round matchup between the Wild and the Avalanche. I'm a little relieved not to have to play Dallas again because Dallas has eliminated the Avalanche each of the last 2 years. But at the same time, I think this is a better Colorado team, more equipped to win. And like you can attest to this, when the Penguins kept beating the Capitals in the playoffs, it felt good to get through them in 2019, right?
2018, but yes.
Yeah, 18. It felt like getting through them was finally like, all right, now that we've taken them down, nothing's going to stop us.
As radio broadcaster John Walton said, the demons have been exercised in the winter.
You had the chance to do that, and I'm a little bummed the Avalanche won't get that chance to do that with Dallas.
There goes my Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah, well, it was a good pick. I mean, they had the second best record in the NHL, second most points. Yeah. But it'll be Minnesota and Colorado in a terrific series out west. Meanwhile, Anaheim scored 3 times in the first period. The Ducks beat the Oilers 5-2 and dethroned the 2-time defending Western Conference champions. The Ducks will play either Utah or Vegas in that Western semifinal. Tonight, a trio of Game 6s, Montreal, Buffalo, and Vegas can bring the first round of the playoffs to an end if they all win. Montreal's at home against Tampa Bay. Buffalo is at Boston. Vegas is at Utah. In the NBA last night, with 4 minutes and 39 seconds to play in the first half in Atlanta, the Hawks trailed the Knicks 72-22.
Wow.
If I went to an NBA playoff game, an elimination game, and the home team was losing by 50 points in the first half, I would demand a full refund.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean of my ticket. You're paying for my parking. You're paying for my concessions. I want my mileage reimbursed at the IRS rate to get there. I want it all back if you made me sit through getting 50-pieced in the first half. Knicks ended up winning the game by 51, and they win that series 4-2. Their opponent in the second round, though, that'll have to wait. Paul George reeled back the years last night for the Sixers, leading Philly past Boston in Game 6 of their series. They'll play a Game 7 this weekend. I think that was all the basketball last night. I certainly can't think of another game that happened last night that made me so upset that I stayed up in a rage until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Definitely not wanting any other one.
Minnesota's G League team eliminated the gutless Denver Nuggets last night in 6 games. Minnesota will play San Antonio. It's 5:25 on May 1st. Why does David Adelman still have his job?
Hey, I will say, you don't have to stay up late a lot longer. You know, like you don't have a reason to be stressed.
Yes, one less reason. The solace is the dual second rounds haven't really worked out the last few years. When the Avalanche and Nuggets both make the second round, they both get bounced in the second round. But when one team loses in the first round, the other usually goes and wins the title. That happened in 23. happened in 22. So if that's the sacrifice for an Avs Cup, I will begrudgingly make it. But we're running out of years to do special stuff with Nikola Jokic. I know that much. This was a chance to do it, and it was wasted because the fourth best player in the Timberwolves told the Nuggets, hey, y'all are some punks. And the Nuggets were like, well, yeah, I guess we are then, and played like it the rest of the series. And that is a failure of leadership, and it is 5:26 on May 1st. Why does David Adelman still have a job? Tonight, Orlando, Cleveland, and the Lakers can all advance with wins. The 8th seed Magic are at home. Cleveland's at Toronto. The Lakers are at Houston. That's your playoff roundup. When we come back, Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com joins us for our Chiefs Insider here on 580 Sports Talk. We go to Kansas City on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline, fresh off of day one of Chiefs rookie minicamp. It's Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He is our Chiefs insider here on the program. And Matt, it kind of feels like school orientation, doesn't it? To get the freshmen on campus and give them a little welcome to the club. And that's kind of what today felt like, a little bit of back to school for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, especially when you got 104 players in the mini camp. That's the most I've ever seen in the Chiefs mini camp. There's some teams around the league that I think, gosh, did the Packers have like 38? I mean, this is unusual. I saw a football field today that had a punt period, special teams going on both fields at the same time. And it's crazy. There's a lot of cats to be taking, chasing down the field, but it's football, so it was a lot of fun today.
What do you think is the reason that the Chiefs have brought so many players? They signed 20 UDFAs, which is a very high number for them. There were some teams that didn't sign many. The Seahawks only signed 7, for instance. And they've got 104 players there at the camp. Why do you think the camp is so sprawling this year?
I don't have a good answer for it. We didn't get to talk to the coaches or Brett Veach today. That's definitely going to be a question I ask Andy Reid tomorrow. If I can get an answer. I'd ask some people, and they were like, I don't really know. Brett Veach and Andy Reid have a reason for their madness. And it may very well be that part of it, Dan, is that, we went back and talked about during the draft build-up during the 30 visits, that the Chiefs used a lot more of their 30 visits on draftable players. Not that they drafted any of the people that they had on their 30 visits, but usually there'd be 15 to 20 of the players that they have on visits are smaller school guys that don't get invites to the combine, or some guys that are injured. And there's a lot of those in this camp. It makes me think that, hey, instead of maybe bringing them for 30 visits, they just decided to bring them in for the mini camp instead. Because like I said, I mean, it's a lot of guys who were overlooked, some backups, maybe at Division I schools that just didn't get a lot of opportunities. And like I said, these are probably players that the Chiefs would have kicked the tires on, during the lead up to the draft. But this year they were more focused on, how to use that number 9 pick and, looking at edge rushers that they maybe went just in a different direction during draft prep this year.
Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com is our Chiefs insider. Joins us every Friday here on 580 Sports Talk on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Which position groups are the most intriguing to you in this rookie mini camp? What spot do you really feel like not only is the competition for a roster spot wide open, but the level of talent brought in at the position maybe raises an eyebrow?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. There's a couple of them. And honestly, I mean, I think you have to include corner in that question before, and maybe for sure, and maybe the secondary in general. But, back then you've got 2 corners that you drafted who are out there on the field. So, you get to see what Mansour Delane's got. You get to see Jaden Kennedy. And honestly, I mean, both those guys look like they belong today. Kennedy had a really good pass breakup. I'm not sure that Delane got challenged a lot. It certainly looked like the quarterbacks that were going up against him, they were checking to see where Mansour Delane was, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going somewhere else. I want to look good. I don't want to challenge this guy. Defensive lines, the other, I think a big one. We're getting a look at 2 of the guys that the Chiefs drafted, obviously, seeing how that they look like they're going to use. Our Mason Thomas, I think after today, I've got a better feeling for what the Chiefs are going to do there and what their plan is. But I think those position groups in specific, I mean, not that there's not some, and this is a passing camp, so, it's the opportunity for the wide receivers and the defensive backs to shine the most. And then I thought there was a couple of receivers who looked good today, but honestly, you don't know when the pads aren't on. And, and a couple of the receivers who looked good were, and I'm trying to remember the kid's name. He also went to Kansas State. Was it Lloyd, his last name? He's one of the tryout guys, and he had a really good day, but is he going to get signed to the roster or make it? I mean, when you're one of 75 tryout players, that's an uphill battle, Dan.
Following up on your point about R. Mason Thomas, what do you think you saw in him today that might have delivered a hint or two about how the Chiefs want to utilize their second-round pick out of Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think everybody got confused about the number because the Chiefs gave him number 34, which is, a linebacker number. It's not technically a legal number for defensive linemen, but in the NFL rules, roster rules of today, there's some liberal things that can be taken from that. Because remember, Nick Bonito wears a linebacker number. I went back and looked at his snap counts today and where they were lined up. He had 619 snaps at edge last year and 1 snap at linebacker. So there's no hard and fast rules about the numbers and everything. And, when I asked Thomas about it, he mentioned the fact that, hey, he chose that because it was the closest to 32 that he wore at Oklahoma. It was available. So, sometimes I think we think more about these things and, what the teams do. And sometimes there's just, they're just trying to make the player happy. In this case, I think, R. Mason Thomas had a number he wanted to wear. Chiefs are going to give it to him because you watched his practice today. And I'm not saying that, it's just set in stone. I mean, this team can always change its mind, but this was a guy that had his hand in the dirt and was lined up at edge all day long. I mean, this wasn't a guy that's dropping back in pass coverage or playing linebacker. He's an edge rusher. That's what he's going to be. And so, I don't think there's a whole lot of, there were people today talking about, hey, does it mean the Chiefs are changing into a 3-4? No, it means there's still going to be a 4-3. He's going to play edge, and he just wanted to have a linebacker number, so the Chiefs figured out how to make it work.
We're joined by Matt Derrick here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. And Matt, the Chiefs drafted Cyrus Allen out of Cincinnati, but a lot of people have been talking about Jeff Caldwell, the other receiver from Cincinnati that the Chiefs signed as a UDFA. Did you get a chance to see him on the field today?
Did get to see him today, and I wish the Chiefs did not give him the number that they gave him, because they gave him number 8. And as you may or may not remember, that was Justin Ross's number. And considering all of the, hoopla over his athleticism and his size and all of that, I feel like the Justin Ross comparisons are just something the Chiefs should not put on this kid. And he had a good play today. I am sure that, the Chiefs will put that one out there on their highlight reel. And it was a great catch. Don't get me wrong. It was a big throw downfield. They're probably not going to put the drops on the highlight reel, and those probably should be out there too, because it just drives me crazy when the Chiefs, and every team does it, but the Chiefs have just been really guilty of this, I think, a couple of times, of putting unrealistic expectations on a young player. Hey, Caldwell today, to me, looked a lot like his numbers at Cincinnati show, which is that he's a good receiver, but he doesn't put up better numbers because he's got some drops, he's got some deficiencies, but every once in a while he's going to make a great play.
And Matt, speaking of the receiver position, new receiver coach Chad O'Shea, you were posting about him earlier on your X page. What's your initial thoughts seeing him coach up the group of rookie receivers?
Yeah, and we probably have more experience watching the receiver drills than any others because the Chiefs put them in the same place year in and year out on the field, and they're right in front of where the media is located. But it was, and I don't want to run people down, but man, this was just an eye opener from a wide receiver coaching perspective. I learned more about playing wide receiver today than I learned in the last probably 9 years on the beat. It took you back to like Greg Lewis and the way he used to run receiver drills, but Chad O'Shea is even louder, more demonstrative. I mean, it was, you could hear every single one of his coaching points, and he was really teaching today. So it's probably going to be different than what he does with veterans and season and everything. But just, you see why he is so respected as a wide receiver coach. He's just, he's direct, he's clear, high expectations. He was tough on players. He wasn't letting them slack off or anything. Different drills than we've seen in the past. So, coaches have different things that they work on. But I was really impressed with, with what we saw today.
And running back wise, obviously they drafted Emmert Johnson out of Nebraska, but then they bring in two guys in UDFA contracts. One of them being new running back coach DeMarco Murray's former running back at Oklahoma. How do you think they shake out depth wise? It seems like this may be the preseason roster with Emmitt Smith's son, EJ Smith, and then Jaden Ott, the Oklahoma guy. Do you think that they're going to be preseason guys that could potentially try to make the practice squad this year?
Yeah, I think that it's a pretty good chance. I mean, it's pretty loaded group to a degree, with even some of the guys that they brought back. And obviously the new additions, you got three guys between Kenneth Walker and Amari DiMaccardo and now Emmitt Johnson that you feel like, hey, you got three guys who are going to make the squad. Having mentioned Brashard Smith and how he kind of fits into the rotation. He may spend a little bit of time at running back and receiver. But yeah, it looks like that they've got some guys, and again, passing camp. So we didn't get to see much of the run game today, but those guys both looked good. Looked comfortable, good hands. They were, throwing the ball out of the backfield a little bit for both of them. So yeah, I mean, if those guys are able to provide you depth at running back on the practice squad, then yeah, I mean, I feel like this group's in pretty good shape.
Couple more questions for our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick from ChiefsDigest.com, joining us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline on 580 Sports Talk. Garrett Nussmeier drafted in the 7th round. First time in a long time we've seen the Chiefs draft a quarterback, and obviously a developmental piece. There's no quarterback controversy percolating in Kansas City. But what are the short-term and maybe the long-term, at least right now, visions for the development of Garrett Nussmeier and what he can bring to the Chiefs organization?
Yeah, and I think almost, short-term and long-term are maybe, in sync. I mean, I don't think he's going to be the number 2 backup this year. I think that'll still be Justin Fields. Even if Garrett Nussmeier just set the world on fire, I think there's still a ceiling on him. Maybe the biggest thing might just be if he's good enough to force his way onto the 53, that you just can't risk losing him, and you're going to carry 3 quarterbacks this year. But, you certainly get the sense from a development standpoint that, yeah, I mean, they're hoping that this is a guy that can do one of two things for them. I mean, it can make sure that gives them some continuity for, 4 years as a backup quarterback, or maybe at least 3 years. If, like you said, maybe this year's a tutelage year and next year he kind of takes over. but gives you 3 years of, really affordable, better backup play that, a guy that's been in your system and is growing and knowing things. That's, maybe got a little bit more upside than what you've had with a Chris Oladokun. And I thought today, for all of the kind of negativity about Garrett Nussmeier and, what you saw in 2025, from the guy I saw on film from last year versus the guy in camp today, two different players. He just looks so much more comfortable. Doesn't look like he's playing with the pain that he had last year. Had some deep balls that wasn't perfect on all of them, but most of them, and a couple of them, I think I'd probably just put on the wide receiver for going to be drifting a bit much. Windy today, so it was a little bit tough with the deep balls, but he had a couple that he hit on. Even his short and intermediate throws were on target. I thought he looked a lot better. And yeah, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you're able to develop this guy. And I mean, hey, if he gives you 3 years of good, cheap, affordable quarterback play, and then, hey, you either trade him or you flip him, or even if he left via free agency and you got like a 4th round pick in 3 years, I mean, that's something you've developed and you kind of mind. I mean, that's what Andy Reid used to do with his backups in Philadelphia, and they just haven't been doing it in Kansas City.
Chiefs love their what's the word I'm looking for? Versatile. There it is. It's Friday. It's late on a Friday. You get what you get. They love their versatile defensive backs. Jaden Kennedy, their 4th round pick out of Oregon, certainly qualifies. Where do you think they see his best fit? Is it at slot corner? Is it at outside corner? Is it at safety? How do you think they're going to work Kennedy? Or maybe is that something that he's going to prove one way or another what his best fit is?
Yeah, you might have hit on it right there. I mean, he may be the one that kind of forces the issue about where his best position is. I think it's easy to see him this year sliding into the slot, and I think in a perfect world for the Chiefs, I think they would like to see that. Allow Mansour Delane to focus entirely on being just an outside corner. Let Kennedy focus on being the inside guy and not having to move back and forth either one of those players. But also you think about how it affects Chamari Connor and allowing maybe Chamari Connor to go from being the Swiss Army knife that they put everywhere to really just letting him focus on being a strong safety and somebody who plays in the box, maybe doesn't play the slot as much, but maybe just narrows his focus a little bit and honestly maybe narrows everybody's focus. I mean, you get all 3 of those guys maybe doing what they do best, rather than, filtering through positions and trying to do more than one thing. I could see Canada eventually, maybe he then becomes the next Chamari Connor where, he's playing a lot of different places. But even the Chiefs, they didn't really do that as much his rookie year. I mean, that's something that's kind of evolved with Connor. I think Canada might be ready for a little bit more than Connor, took on as a rookie. And maybe that's just going to be, hey, right out of the box, he's their slot corner. And if that's the case, and if he wins that position outright and shows that he's better than Connor and anybody else at that spot, Chris Rowan Wallace, I think that's an upgrade for the Chiefs.
Matt Derrick is our Chiefs insider on 580 Sports Talk. He writes about the Chiefs for ChiefsDigest.com, and he usually joins us earlier in the 3 o'clock hour on Mondays. Moved him to this 5 o'clock hour today so we get a full accounting of day 1 of 3 of Chiefs rookie minicamp. Matt, we always appreciate your time and your insight. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
You're the best. I don't need any more 245 practices, but we're there for you.
We appreciate you, Matt. Have a good weekend. That is Matt Derrick. We will take one break here on 580 Sports Talk. Come back, take a look ahead to some Royals baseball this weekend, including tonight's series opener against the Seattle Mariners on 580 WIBW. Our thanks again to Matt Derrick, ChiefDigest.com, for joining us. Go to his website, ChiefDigest.com. You've got some day one rookie minicamp insight, also a full 104-man camp roster, sortable by name, position, alma mater. Very useful tool over at ChiefDigest.com.
Yeah, shout out to Matt for putting that together.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
transcription going on there.
Content importation.
104 players at rookie camp. That is quite the size of camp. Andy Reid's going to speak tomorrow. Obviously Saturday. We don't have a show Saturday, but be interesting to hear from Reid. Why is rookie camp so big this year? Like, why did you make it so big? Because that's a choice. And you can invite as many or as few as you want to your rookie mini camp. Chiefs have a lot of people at One Arrowhead Drive this weekend. Be interested to hear from him on Saturday. Royals baseball this weekend continues their road trip on the West Coast. They are in Seattle for 3 games against the Mariners. Tonight's game only available television on Apple TV. So if you don't have the streaming, you don't have that streaming service, you can always listen tonight right here on your home for every pitch of Royals baseball since 1969. 580 WIBW. Pregame coverage at 8 o'clock. First pitch coming up at 8:45. Saturday night's game is a similar start. I believe it's an 8:40 first pitch. It's an 8 o'clock pregame. And then 2:30 pregame, 3:10 first pitch on Sunday afternoon. Tonight, it's Cole Reagans for the Royals, and it's Brian Wu for the Mariners. The real Cole Reagans needs to stand up. When Reagans has been good this season, he has been electric. When Reagans has not been good this year, he has gotten hit around. The sum total of his outings so far adds up to an ERA of an even 5. But we all know Reagans is better than that at his best, and the Royals need that version of Cole Reagans to take the mound tonight and put a halt to a brief 2-game skid, start this series on a high note. He'll be going up against a Mariners offense that started the season very sluggishly, but has started to get going of late as Seattle has won 6 of their last 7, including 2 of 3 over Minnesota. The lineup Reagans will face tonight, J.P. Crawford is the shortstop leading off for Seattle, followed by Cal Raleigh behind the plate, who's got 7 dingers, but only hitting 192. Julio Rodriguez bats third in center field. Josh Naylor, the first baseman, hitting cleanup. Randy Arozarena in left field batting 5th. Mitch Garver DHs and bats 6th. Cole Young, a bit of a breakout star early this season for the Mariners. He's at second base batting 7th. Rocky great Connor Joe is in right field batting 8th. And the shortstop, or the third baseman, Leo Rivas, bats 9th. Royals shake up the lineup a little bit tonight. Michael Garcia will lead off at third base, followed by Bobby Witt Jr. at short. Vinny Pasquantino back in the lineup after missing the last 2 games, or not starting the last 2 games due to back tightness. He's at first base batting 3rd. Salvador Perez back behind the plate hitting cleanup. Carter Jensen DHing batting 5th. Jack Caglione moves up in the lineup. We know how much Matt Quatrero loves to split his lefties and righties. He's not worried about that because he's got a lot of lefties in the lineup tonight. So Cags will bat 6th in right field. Isaac Collins is the left fielder batting 7th. Michael Massey at second base bats 8th. Kyle Isbell batting 9th in center field. Again, that's against the right-hander Brian Wu. Royals catch a bit of a break in this series. They face Wu, Emerson Hancock, and Luis Castillo, who might be on the downside of his career. He's had a really rocky start to 2026. Royals missed the 2 best starters for Seattle, Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, but Wu and Hancock are both pretty good too. It's a really good pitching rotation. It's a team a lot of people thought could go to the World Series this year. They were very close last year to going to their first ever World Series, losing in 7 games to Toronto in the ALCS. But like I mentioned, they got off to a slow start this year as well. They've started to pull themselves out of their slow start. The Royals need to start to do the same. 12-19 going into tonight, just 3-12 on the road. The offense has not shown up away from Kauffman Stadium yet. That makes it all the more imperative that Cole Reagans be the very best version of himself as he takes him out. Last time out, he was great. Had the 11 punch-outs against the Angels in his start on Saturday. Hopefully we see more of the same from Cole tonight as the Royals try to open this series in Seattle with a win. Again, 8 o'clock pregame, 8:45 first pitch here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. We'll take one final break, come back with a final word to put a wrap on this week's 580 Sports Talk. Time for the final word for the day and our final word for the week here on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, what you got?
Yeah, so this is in light of Felix and DK Uzama's fifth-year option getting declined. That may be like one of the very few, and him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire might be some of the very few misses that the Chiefs have had in the draft over the last 8 to 10 years. As a fan of another team that in which employed Ron Rivera as their head coach for like too many years, Emmanuel Forbes' fifth-year option was declined by the Rams, whom which the Commanders traded Emmanuel Forbes to, who they drafted before Christian Gonzalez got drafted. Not only that, Jamin Davis was released from his like third or fourth team, who was like supposed to be the next guy for the Commanders, according to Ron Rivera. So I'm happy I get to cover a team that picks pretty good in the draft here, and I'm not looking forward to looking at who else gets cut from my team.
Your final word from me today has to do once again with the Kansas City Royals and their 12 of 19 start. And there are 5 months of baseball still left to be played, and you can dig out of a bad April just as easily as you can fumble a good April. And these kinds of things happen all the time. It's a small sample. It's a relative drop in the bucket compared to the full 162 game sample. But it's undeniable that the trends are troubling for the Royals, and there's more reason right now to believe that there are certain aspects of this team that aren't going to get a whole lot better, particularly the bullpen, which carries the third worst relief ERA in baseball into this weekend. They don't miss bats, they walk too many guys, and they give up too many home runs. All of the advanced stats and the rate stats support that this is not a very good bullpen. And I am a little surprised at how not good it has been, because these are mostly guys in the back end of this bullpen with a track record of recent Major League Baseball success. But the numbers, they don't lie. This has not been a reliable bullpen. And knowing that surely has put more strain on the Royals at the plate, giving them more tightness perhaps in those big runners in scoring position situations, making them feel like they've got to win every game comfortably, maybe not trusting a one-run lead to the beleaguered relief corps. It's all been a lot of stress on a team that came out of the gate with some good vibes out of spring training, expecting to win, maybe expecting to win the American League Central for the first time since 2015. That seems a very long way away, even though they're only 3.5 games out of first place. They've got to get right, and it starts with the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning being a safer haven. The Royals bullpen, though, not showing signs that it's turnaround anytime soon. Lots of baseball this weekend. Hope you enjoy it. We're back on Monday from 3 to 6. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.